Hi everyone, welcome back to episode 3 of the Renewable Radio. Today, fantastic, I got Simon from Optimus Heat in. He's coming in, he's a subject matter expert in heat pumps and renewable energy, and I'm really going to pick his brains into the heat pump side of his company, what he's doing, what the company's doing, and yeah, everything heat pumps. I'm so excited to have you on. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite. Labour has published that they have this massive drive on solar.
Yeah.
So there's another important element with heat pumps here. So heat pump 70 to 80 open loop running 24/7. 70 to 80% of your electrical energy usage in your home. Let's not count electric cars because they're a variable.
Yeah.
Some people might drive to Sainsbury's and back. Others might drive down, I don't know, to Cornwall, whatever. But in the home stuff, the heat pump is 70 to 80% of your consumption.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we're designing the heat pump system correctly now, the energy draw of the home can now be tailored to fit the solar system around that.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, we're not going, okay, I'm just going to stick 10 panels on that roof. We're actually understanding what the consumption is.
Yeah.
And we can say, okay, well, solar doesn't work at the same time as heat pumps because just guess what? Christmas Day is when your heat pump's cold and everyone's around.
Yeah.
There's no solar yield. But what we can do, if we've got the right sized solar system that can basically generate for us in the summer and offset our bills in the winter.
Yeah.
And what we can then do is we can size our battery storage so that we can consume energy when it suits the energy companies to give us that energy at a cheap rate.
Yeah.
Obviously, Octopus doing like 7p a kilowatt hour overnight at the moment.
Octopus are great. You know.
They're brilliant. A really forward-thinking company. If you look at what they're doing they've got a technology called Kraken, which is looking at the grid loading across Europe and grid management.
Cool.
I mean, it's phenomenal. They are a market leader like no other. They're
Yes,
brilliant.
I agree.
And we have to change our habits. Feed-in tariff is a thing, and as more and more people start to, this is the old famous thing about at half time of the FA Cup final when everyone switched their
having a brew.
Black hat. But that's gonna happen again, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna happen again. The more of these electrical products, and look how smart your home is already.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's so much stuff.
We rely so much on electric these days, you know.
We do.
Gas is going to go by what? They're going to stop fitting gas boilers 2035, I believe.
Yeah.
It is now in new build properties. So that means a lot more heat pumps are going to be installed, a lot more electric boilers are going to be installed. The only way that realistically as a country we can lower our utilities if electricity stays the same price, like higher than gas, which I don't think it will. I think they'll switch. So I think electricity will come down and gas will go up, and then everyone will just switch over to electricity.
Yep.
But the big one is put solar on your roof. Like, you know, you can have, say, 10 panels on the average roof or whatever, and that can like reduce your bill by 60%, and that will work in tandem with a heat pump that is designed properly and that is efficient.
Yep.
So then you can more or less stay neutral and not have like a massive big electric bill when you have a heat pump, because that's what lots of people are saying.
Again, and this comes from government. We're not officially in recession, but the country is in a
cost of living crisis.
Cost of living crisis, right?
Yeah.
We've got the most debt that we've ever had.
Yeah.
Like people are really feeling it, and we're talking about stuff here where people are going to watch this and go, "Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I'd love to go and get a load of solar batteries and a heat pump."
But I haven't got 19 grand for a heat pump and however much for solar, you know.
And it has to be led from government. There has to be, and I think, by the way, Labour are going to be brilliant at this. There's a complete change of thought process, but it has to be led from government. There has to be help for people that need it.
I think there is, though. What did Labour say? I think there's £7 billion towards renewable energy and like maybe helping people in fuel poverty anyway. So they have come out and said there's going to be a big push into renewables, which is definitely the way that we need to go, you know.
I mean, they've already rescinded the building plans for onshore wind farms.
Yeah.
All the things that we need to do
Yeah.
to become actually a sustainable country. Like,
Yeah.
Because okay, if you don't want to buy Russian gas and you want to look at how we can harness energy,
Yeah.
okay, we're an island, tidal.
Yeah.
We've actually got loads of greenbelt land.
Yeah.
Like you just drive down the M1 and look at all the fields.
Yeah.
Like there's loads of ways we can do this.
So I was doing some research, and I believe if we was to utilise all the land and all our attributes being an island and as a country, then we would not only be reliant on our own electricity that we'd be able to create from renewable energy, but we'd actually become a big provider for the rest of Europe.
Yeah.
Because we'd be creating so much. So like, why are we not 100% like pushing forward with this, you know, as a country?
So we work with a company called B Trading, and they are the sole distributor for Abora solar PVT panels in the UK.
Okay.
Now, a PVT panel is a hybrid panel.
Yeah.
It's both thermal and PV, so electric and heat
Best of
energy.
both worlds then.
So imagine you're now building housing estates where you're going to have a PVT array,
Yeah.
okay, that can service the hot water energy for that estate and electricity,
Yeah.
all off of one panel in a field somewhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we're seeing the solar fields now.
Yeah.
It just makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
That they're so effective, those panels, that the energy yield from them kind of March through to October is phenomenal. But like it's just from the sun. It's constant.
Yeah, exactly.
Free energy.
Let's use the environment.
Yeah.
Let's use the environment to get free energy.
There's things like district heating as well, right? So ground source heat pumps. You build a block of flats. Let's not put a load of boilers in the basement anymore. Let's put a ground loop in.
Yeah.
Let's build ground source heat pumps into that district heating.
Yeah.
Again, there's high power heat pumps. They're called coolers, but they do really high loads. Well, we can build this for. Luke's my business partner has had some great ideas about heat pumps for flats.
Okay.
But how do we get around that?
That's a big question.
Oh, so I can't give it away.
Yeah, no, but
he's actually designed a heat pump that works with flats.
Let's talk then generic, not without giving any key secrets away,
Yep.
but big things I hear about heat pumps is there's a lot of flats, there's a lot of like terraced houses, there's a lot of these properties that are not going to be suitable for heat pumps. Without giving all the secrets, how do we do it?
So not suitable for heat pumps doesn't exist.
Okay.
It's just a challenge of looking at design and making it work.
Yeah.
There's always a way.
So the answer is yes. It just depends on what the question is.
We're working, yeah, absolutely. We're working on a project at the moment. It's a 16th century property, a big estate. The energy bills are very significant. But parts of the property were built in 2015.
Yeah.
So it's got good insulation.
Yeah.
The other end of the property is single skin brick, where at points you can actually see through the brick. So they've got absolute different heat properties, the way that house breathes.
Yeah.
It's knowing how to design the system to work with that. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
You just got to be able to do hydronic design.
Yeah.
And this is where there's a massive skills gap, and I think low carbon heating apprenticeships will change this.
Yeah.
The more, I mean, we said about Heat Geek, Adam's done a tremendous amount for the awareness of this sort of stuff. He
100%.
certainly helped me on my journey learning this stuff.
Yeah.
The more and more that we realise that this is now a skilled industry.
Yeah.
Like it's super skilled industry. It's
100%.
a design industry.
Yeah.
It's like an architect. So
Yeah.
You're actually...
It's an important industry.
Yeah.
Like, it's so important. It's actually affecting the end user with their outgoings every month. So it should be treated that way. It should be treated again. Like, not saying that the gas industry is not a skilled industry, because it's still tradesmen and everything, but the skilled aspect of it has died off a little bit.
I think look more at the plumbing industry, because the gas engineer, you have to go through your gas safe. And
Yeah,
the
of
whole
course.
qualification process,
Yeah.
which you should have for heat pumps.
Yes, I agree.
Right now, the heat pump level 3 course is not fit for purpose.
Okay.
They actually teach you incorrect things in that course.
Okay.
So it's like the standard course that gets you your MCS accreditation is wrong.
So who should be changing that then? Who are the governing bodies with that? And like, what should we be doing as an industry to make that better?
Again, this is why we want to work with people. We want look. There's lots of people that are trying to solve this problem. All the training companies I've already mentioned. Valent are trying to do their Aspire thing. Viessmann have an MCS umbrella scheme.
Yeah.
There are ways that people can enter the industry without having those design skills. Ultimate Renewables as well, great company. Like, they've got good designers there. They'll design the system for you. They'll give you all the support and help you need.
Yeah.
So you will literally just be an installer on that job.
They
But it's
commission
still your
it,
job.
but then they commission it.
Yeah, you still own it. It's
Yeah.
still. I mean, Trade Mastermind, we're always talking about cash flow and
Yeah.
managing the job and managing your cash flow. Well, actually, you can retain control of that.
And that's important.
Yeah, it's a rare company actually. They're one of the only ones in the UK that are doing that kind of thing.
Okay, cool.
So big props to Simon for that. Well done. But yeah, we need to bring the industry up on understanding how to do these systems. And look, in 5 years' time, I hope we can have a very different conversation about this.
I think we will.
I think we will.
Yeah.
But there's a problem with. And one of the big problems that I have at the moment is when I go in and I'll quote a job after, say, one of the big companies that are I won't say a name, but
don't say no names.
That's installing at the moment, and they'll say, well, hang on a minute, they quoted me £1,000, £1,000. Why are you saying 18,000?
How do you get around that then?
Quality.
Okay.
So it's understanding, and also technical understanding of hydronics.
Yeah.
Making that client.
When you say hydronics, speaking to the average consumer, so
Plumbing.
you just mean the plumbing and the heat pumps, yeah?
Plumbing.
Okay.
And this is another problem, coming back to accreditation.
Yeah.
Anyone can go to Screwfix and buy some tools and say I'm a plumber.
Yeah, no, I know.
And because the heat pump, there's no gas or no dangerous substances in it, anyone can, if you're not doing MCS, anyone can essentially go and be that installer or jump on some umbrella schemes that are out there in the marketplace. We're not saying for any random people just to go and buy a heat pump and then just try and plumb anything in, Please because don't. Like F-gas with regards to the heat pump, It's a sealed unit, so you can absolutely go and do it.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with the industry. You can go and buy a heat pump in Screwfix.
Yeah, no, I know.
And this needs to be highlighted, right? Because this is the problem. You go and buy the heat pump out of Screwfix along with all the fittings. You get your push fit because that's what it's nice and there's no quality control there. You then go through the MCS process, and that's meant to be some quality control. But as I understand it, the company is very small. They're limited on how many inspections they can do. By the way, you're very welcome to come and do an Optimus inspection. We'd encourage you to come and see one of our systems. In fact, we'd like to work with you. I've spoken to Ian Rippin at Installer last year. We'd absolutely love to work with you. It's not about, let's not think about what was. Let's think about what's going to be and how we can push the industry forward. It's easy to say, this is rubbish, that's bad, we shouldn't do it. But let's think about the future. Next steps.
With MCS, they are the accreditation body, and what we recommend all consumers, if you are going to go down a renewable route, so solar panels or even a heat pump, check that the companies are MCS accredited, because that is the benchmark for the industry. And if they are not, please don't let people into your home, because like we're saying, the MCS, the whole thing of getting MCS is a difficult process,
So difficult.
And the accreditation and the things that you go through as a company to become an MCS accredited company, like to pass that, it is difficult. But, as a consumer, please check that whoever's going to do any renewable installation, that their MCS, like the trust mark, like you don't have to have, but it more or less comes with it, doesn't it? Like these things are very important.
Every hoop, especially as a small business, and you'll know this, every hoop you've had to jump through has taken a massive sacrifice. Your time, your effort, all this time that you're not actually working on installs and earning money.
It took us a year to get MCS registered, and as a business owner, like it was stressful. Like we jumped through like lots of hoops, but we've done it for the right reasons, so that we can offer the correct things for customers. And it's so important, like It might be a plumber down the road who can do it £500 cheaper, but you know, if he's not insured, if he's not like MCS registered, you know, it means nothing, because if he doesn't do it right, you're not covered.
And that's the importance of the initial spend, and I can't emphasise this enough. It's going to cost you more money as a client initially to get the right system installed. There's no way around it. Over the life of your heating system, you will save money by having that install. Yeah. It will be way cheaper for you, way less stressful, better all round to spend that money up front. And like a lot of the people at Trade Mastermind, we have finance options. There's ways of making this easier for the customer. The initial spend, and I know people would say, you would say that, you've got a heat pump business. I can't emphasise how important it is. Get the right system put in. If you scrimp on it, if you think I'm going to go for the cheap deal, that's what you're buying every time. So
the way I like to say here is, doing any work on your home's an investment.
Yep.
Okay, so with renewable energy, we'll start with solar. It's one of the only things I feel like that you can talk about and have like something done on your property and have a return on your investment, because it can actually pay for itself. But heat pumps is very, very similar, because if it is designed properly, it should be designed to save you money.
Exactly that.
You know, because it's so efficient. If it's £500 cheaper down the road, but they're not taking the time to design it properly, then your investment, it might be £500 cheaper, but the investment is worth a lot less, because it's going to cost you more money in the long run.
Absolutely. And your monthly energy bills will just skyrocket.
Yeah.
They really will. And you hear about people having £400, £500 energy bills a month over winter on a 3-bedroom house. It's absolutely bonkers.
And that's because it's not designed properly.
Yep. Yeah. And so you think about those, say it's a 4 or 5 month window where you have high energy bills. Now times that by 5 years. Look at the initial spend that you're going to make. After 5 years, your high temperature heat pump is really starting to huff and puff because it's been working really hard.
Got to have another one, huh?
Yeah, where the one that's designed properly, it's got another 15 years.
Yeah, happy days.
And your bills are cheaper. So that's kind of like your timeline. Like you're thinking about like your first 5 years. That's when you're going to be in the money.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit more expensive up front, but once you recoup that initial investment, you're good. You're good for the next time.
I agree. And I think it's definitely the way we're going to go as an industry, you know. And pairing them with solar and battery and getting the whole system designed properly, not only, I believe, is a good investment, I think by jumping on to it now, it would be an even better investment, because, like, for instance, we talk solar. There's last research I've done, I think there's like 30 million domestic properties in the UK. Only 3.5% of those properties have solar.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see solar everywhere.
Yeah.
You think, it's an exhausted market. It's not.
But if you think about it, it's not everywhere. So you drive down the street, perhaps one house on one street have got solar.
Yeah.
So like I've done my research into this, 3.5% of all homes in the UK have solar. So all you're hearing about in the news at the moment is renewable energy, and cost of living crisis, fuel costs, everything like that. So if that's only 3.5% now, and everyone clicks onto the fact that having solar is an investment and it'll lower utility bills, when this market booms, what do you think it's going to do to the price of solar? It's going to go up.
Of course.
Because everyone's going to want it, so not everyone can fit you into your time frame. So it's going to be like massive inflation of the cost of solar then.
Yeah.
So now, where there's a limited knowledge about it, and in-know people actually know about it, but they're and are in, it's actually a perfect time, especially now with batteries.
Yeah, and I think the growth in that market is going to be exponential, especially around obviously feed-in tariffs and how we consume energy.
Yeah,
we need to be self-generating. We need to be little power factories.
Yeah.
And we've got the ability to do that.
Yes, we do.
And again, coming back to heat pumps, and this is why anyone that's kind of doing solar installs should be looking at heat pumps, because as the market transitions over to those heat sources, that's going to directly affect your solar install.
Yes.
Is it big enough? Is it the right install? Is it going to meet
the standards?
Yeah, exactly that. And battery storage as well. There's an element of...
That's what I wanted to ask. So now battery technologies obviously exploded onto the market. How do we pay battery with heat pumps to utilise the effectiveness of that technology?
So we reverse engineer. When we're installing multiple technologies, we always reverse engineer, and it's all stemmed from the heat loss. So we understand how that house breathes.
Yeah, you've said that quite a bit, how the house breathes, you know. I think that's a fantastic way to look at it.
And it's that foundation thing we touched on earlier. Strong foundations, you really understand how that house gives out energy. You can understand how to replenish energy. And if you're replenishing the energy at the correct rate, you can then size your battery storage so that you can consume the energy from the grid at a cheap price.
Perfect.
And then it meets, so you're taking it overnight and you're meeting the load of the house during the day. And then
reducing people's utility costs by doing it properly.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what we'll see as the electrification of the grid continues of our energy sources, you'll see feed-in tariffs will change to during the day, because right now most of apart from Optimus Cozy, most of the tariffs are kind of like overnight tariffs.
Yeah.
When everyone adopts this technology, you're going to be on a different time to perhaps the next street.
Yeah.
And you can only do that if you have the ability to store energy.
Yeah, that's where battery comes in.
It really does. And sizing batteries, historically, it might have been, we'll chuck a 5 kilowatt in.
It's a start, and you know, like what's happening now is people are having panels, and like there's not a lot of good information out there about the battery storage, the same as heat pumps. So people are jumping on and being like, okay, let's do like a starter pack then, you know. So it's just like Fox, for instance. Fox is great. So like it'll be like a 5 kilowatt battery, and then what we're saying to our customers is see how that goes for the start, and then because with Fox we can just add on
chain them on.
So like it's not like it's a massive install when you want to add it on then, because all we just shut the system down and just add a cell every time you go on, like, you know. So that's a great way for people to think, okay, this is working, what's next? You know, and we've got to be able to provide that package for customers with looking at their whole system, so heat pump, solar, battery, looking at the energy efficiency of their home, and being like, okay, you've done it this way, it saved you this much. If we add this on, it'll save you this much. If we add another battery on, it'll save you this month, and we can optimize it. So instead of your electricity bill being up here because you've got a heat pump, with solar and battery, we make it level, so everyone is running at a smooth, efficient level.
An important thing to realise about that, and the reason why it's good to understand what the capacity of the battery is on day one, let's call it first fix, is because you can essentially put in the right cabling. When you're carving the house up and you're doing all the building work.
It's the hard work.
Like, you could put the cables there ready. Client doesn't necessarily have to buy the battery at that time. But all of a sudden, the cable's there ready for that upgrade. Because you've done your research, you've spoken to DNO, you know what the amount of energy is that you can send back to the grid, the limitation on it.
It goes off the inverter with the solar stuff, you know. You like a lot of these companies are just chucking like under 3.68 kilowatt inverter in because they want to just do a G98 and like bang it out quick sharp to earn money. But where the person's usage and the property, it's beneficial for them not to have a 3.68 kilowatt inverter in, to have a bigger one, because the overall efficiency of their property, they're going to have more usage, they're more creation and generation. So let's put a bigger inverter in now, so then in the future, when we can maximise your savings and your export and sort everything out for your whole system, you're in the right position.
Exactly, it's all
at
done.
The start.
You're not buying more kit to replace kit because it wasn't right in the first place.
You shouldn't have to.
Never. And this is where the DNO needs to improve as well. Some DNOs are really good.
Yeah.
Other DNOs are dragging their heels.
Yeah.
And for installers, we all work on how can we improve the efficiency of our business.
Yeah.
We're looking at how we can do things better every day.
Yeah.
If you hit a full stop like a bad DNO, where they're saying, "I'll come back to you in 3 months," and
it's challenging.
The whole process.
Yeah.
So that needs to massively improve.
I think it will. The more we go into renewable energy, and we work with the grid, and the grid can see the influx in jobs and how it has to operate, I believe everything will become more efficient. But I agree with you, it's challenging at the moment.
It's amazing what you can achieve on single phase as well. So predominantly in the UK, we're on single phase. I mean, we recently put in 37 kilowatts of battery storage on single phase.
Yeah.
And that was sized for the cable that goes back to the street.
Yeah,
so
cool.
we know, and it's optimised with the rest of the energy system in the home.
Yeah.
That works. I mean, obviously it's a high budget client, but that works perfectly for that client.
But you're going to get customers like that have got a bigger property and a bigger budget, so that you can do that. Like, not every property is going to be able to do that.
But they've got the system that they wanted.
Yes.
They gave us the remit, and we designed it out from the heat loss, and they got the exact system they wanted. It wasn't a case of, 10 panels will do. It's understanding what the house needs. Even if on day one they can't have all of that technology, do the work, do the construction work, get the bones in, and then we can add to it.
I think the point that you're making, like, throughout this is the design has to be correct, so that it can be efficient, not only just for the customer's needs now, but for the customer's needs in the future, and for us as a country to... I know lots of people will probably have a go at me on the comments for saying it, but to be more like the European countries, like Germany and the other energy efficient countries that have got similar climates to us, but they're not relying on Russia.
Yeah, of course.
Because like heat pumps, I believe Switzerland and stuff like that, they've been about for the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah, years and years. I mean, the way they build their houses is totally different, and their climate's different as well.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that the UK's got one of the hardest climates to put a heat pump in.
Yeah.
Because we hover around 0 degrees, we get moisture.
Yeah.
So if you get a super cold country,
yeah,
actually your heat pump can work more efficiently in there.
Okay.
There's less moisture in the air, less defrost cycles. Actually, our country is one of the most challenging countries to install a heat pump.
Wow, I didn't realise that. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's like, this is, again, design, get it right, have the right system, volume. If you have, so when a heat pump frosts up, it literally, the whole of the back of it turns to ice.
Yeah.
So it reverses its cycle. And if you've got enough system volume, i.e. water, in your system, as quickly as that's formed, it will just fall off the back of the machine.
It's just an air conditioning unit run backwards, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's be honest, so on hot days, or just in general, so it takes the warm air and puts it to cold air for an air conditioning unit, and for a heat pump, it takes the ambient air temperature and then goes in through the fan, convects through the heat exchangers within and the compression of the gas, and then creates heat. It just run backwards.
And that refrigerant boils down to, say, minus 25. So when people think, a heat pump can't create heat at minus 3, actually there's loads of energy in the air for the heat pump at minus 3, because it can boil that refrigerant right down to minus 25.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty... Rarely the heat pump goes wrong.
Yeah.
It's normally the heat pump fails when the system isn't designed properly.
Yeah, no, I like speaking to you and everything like that. Everyone needs to know this, It's not the problem with the heat pumps. It's a problem with, it's bad to say, but companies designing the heat pumps for the installation in the customers' homes.
And it's not the small installer. I've worked with, or I've seen, I won't mention the name of them, but I've seen heat pump manufacturers giving out the worst possible designs that you can possibly imagine. But these are people. None of the heat pump manufacturers I've mentioned. By the way.
Yeah, put that out there. You'll be in trouble now after this.
But they're actually giving out designs with that show they don't understand vapor compression heating. They're building something. It sounds really arrogant for me to say this, but it's a fact. They're building something that they understand how that thing works, but they've never thought about what it's actually feeding and whether it should be doing it right. And how can a builder or an installer or someone that's reliant on that manufacturer, that brand,
that advice from them,
thinking, you know what, these guys know, they make it, they must be telling me to do the right thing. Like, I've had to rip out underfloor heating where it's been specified. Most underfloor heating companies in the UK right now do not know how to design underfloor heating to work with heat pumps.
Okay. How would you do that then? What advice can you give the underfloor heating companies to design it with a heat pump? Because a lot of people, they'll have underfloor heating to have a heat pump because that's probably the most optimal way to heat your home with heat pumps.
It's just energy in for energy out. So radiators that give out 1,000 watts is the same as underfloor heating that give out 1,000.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
But what happens is, if you think about underfloor heating manifold, historically you would have had a control centre.
Yeah.
All the white actuators that open and close loops.
Yeah. Don't
want those anymore. You don't want to rob system volume. Want to get rid of that.
You just want a constant flow.
Constant flow. Don't need that. Don't need that wiring sensor. Don't need all these thermostats all over the house because we're not working from ambient temperature anymore. We're working on compensation controls. Remember, the heat pump looks at what the outdoor temperature is, and it looks at the flow and return temperatures, and it modulates accordingly.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to know what an ambient temperature is on a room by room basis. Actually, it confuses it. It causes problems. Moreover, if that's something to look out for people that are getting underfloor heating designed. If your underfloor heating company is designing to DT7, a delta temperature 7, that means the flow temperature would be, say, 37 degrees and the return temperature 30 degrees. Well, a heat pump works at DT5 at its high design temperature, so you're 2 degrees out straight away. And this is where I say underfloor
So then
heating
that would be how less efficient? Just at 2 degrees?
Well, it depends on how much
okay.
System it's serving. That's a different story. It's not like what we're talking about, 3% efficiency earlier on.
Oh, okay.
Your heat pump's now trying to heat 7 degrees
instead of
it's fighting, but
but it'd be more. It would be less efficient anyway if it was doing that.
Absolutely,
yeah.
and you can go to a lot of underfloor heating companies on the street right now, and they will all design to DT7 because historically, boiler radiators were DT20, underfloor heating was DT7 under design, and then you'd have a mixing station that would send different temperature to the underfloor heating and different temperature to the radiators. Yeah. That's gone with heat. That's changed.
Okay.
We're now on open loop. We're now on energy in for energy out. We don't need all this complex stuff. We just need to.
So simpler then. That's what you're saying.
There's less kit to buy.
Yeah.
Simpler.
Yeah.
It's all open.
Yeah.
And the heat pump's super intelligent and just does its thing.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, decent. So on a heat pump system, obviously, if you was going from a combi boiler and you was going to install a heat pump, you've got to have a hot water cylinder.
Yeah.
What size hot water cylinder would you recommend for people? I know it depends on the house and everything like that, but if we're talking about the standard, say, 3-bed terraced house, space is an issue.
Sure.
What do you recommend for installers and for customers to be thinking if they think they can't have a heat pump because they haven't got no place for hot water storage cylinder? Where could you put it?
Right, so there's always loads of options. So I'll tell you about my house. I've got an 18th century cottage with a 5 kilowatt Valent heat pump on it.
5 kilowatt Valent heat pump?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Therm Plus.
How old is it again?
18th century, 1876.
Okay, from the information out there online, that property would not be suitable for a heat pump.
So, absolutely, which is wrong. I had my cavity walls filled.
Yeah.
My pipe work, because I'm only getting 5 kilowatts of energy around my house, I've only got a 3-bedroom cottage, it's 22 mil. Because that's big enough to get the energy to the different areas of my house.
Yes.
I don't need bigger pipe work.
Okay.
It's 480% efficient.
Is it 22 mil on the carcass and the tails?
No. So the primary's coming off the heat pump, go into the plant room,
Yeah.
which is where they split, and then it goes down to 22 mil.
Okay.
That was a calculated design, and
Yeah.
we did it because we wanted to prove that we could get a heat pump working on 22 mil primary, and that it does work.
Okay.
The size of the heat pump is small, so it's got less energy to transfer around.
Yeah.
But it is possible. So cavity wall insulation in my place. I've got a loft conversion. So
Yeah.
there is insulation in the loft.
Okay, yeah.
I've got underfloor heating on the ground floor and rads on the first and second. Nothing out of the ordinary. That heat pump works really well. And my business partner Luke's is ridiculous. That's the one in the video with Kevin McLeod.
Yeah, I seen it. Wow.
Luke's like 600% efficient.
That's the one you won the Valand Installer Award for.
Yeah, that's right. So his is like unbelievable. So he's put a short bit of 28 mil pipe work, 28 mil primary coming off the back of the heat pump. It only go, without getting too technical, it doesn't go for a long way. It's only so many meters.
Okay.
And 28 mil up to the first floor, which is where all the heating pipework runs, and then drops down.
Where the circuit is, yeah.
Yeah, so it's all open flow. It's a 3.5 kilowatt heat pump.
Okay.
It's a small unit.
Yeah.
3-bedroom house again.
Yeah.
It's on a cliff face.
So a 3.5 kilowatt heat pump will do a 3-bed house.
Yeah, semi-detached.
Quite easily, yeah.
On a cliffside in Peacehaven. So he has, like, the wind batters his house like in winter.
The heat loss on that, that's exposed to the elements all the time.
He's had cavity wall insulation. He's got some underfloor heating. Some underfloor insulation, not underfloor heating,
Okay.
and just rads.
Yeah.
His heat pump is supersonic, just because he's allowed it to breathe.
Yeah.
He's put that bigger pipe work in, bigger rads. It can do its thing.
So, going on that property, because I've got quite that project, I've got a couple of questions to ask on that one. Because I watched the video and I thought it was fantastic. By the way, so well done. That's great.
Thank you.
So that installation, the circuit, is it, because you said you kept most of the rads the same size?
No, he upsized his rads, so he's got bigger radiators.
How much bigger?
So in his lounge, so his lounge is quite big because he's got a 2 metre by 600 Type 22.
Okay.
He hasn't got any Type 23s. They're all Type 22s.
Okay.
The kitchen's got a 700 by 1 metre Type 22.
Can you explain Type 22 for the consumers? So,
Yeah.
like if a normal single rad, so how much bigger would a Type 22 rad be from like a normal?
So a normal rad, and let's say it's a convecting rad, is a single panel with some fins on the back of it.
Yeah.
A double one is 2 panels with 2 sets of fins in it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like double the size.
Yeah.
So not outrageous.
Like a double rad. That's what, if someone was coming to survey your property for a gas boiler and you was having some radiators changed, they might say, okay, that's a double, we'll put a double in there.
Yeah, correct.
So what's the difference then?
So his has just got so much system volume for a 3.5 kilowatt heat pump that the heat pump can just breathe continually. That's how it's super efficient. So we actually kept his boiler cylinder as well.
Yeah,
So he hasn't got a fancy cylinder.
Yeah.
So we plate loaded his boiler cylinder.
Yeah.
So the reason plate loading is important, so if you think of a hot water coil, any water that goes through the middle isn't transferring energy.
Yeah.
If you cut a plate in half, it looks like a honeycomb with speed bumps in it. So any water that goes through there is agitated and it transfers its energy. Right, it makes it super efficient. That's important because when we're doing hot water with heat pumps, it's at higher temperature, maybe 55 degrees to achieve 50 degrees in the cylinder. We want to be doing that for as little time as possible. So he's got a 180 litre cylinder which suits his family, and so that's one of the reasons he's getting super efficiency because of that plate, and he's getting really good. He's getting 400% plus efficiency on the hot water side, which is amazing. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. So with regards to where you can put cylinders, so Luke's is in the garage. Mine's in an old outdoor toilet. It's like 18th century. You've
got to adapt and overcome,
But you can put them in. We've put them in lofts before. Obviously, you need to structurally make sound.
Boarded.
But
like a fixed ladder, just standard stuff that you've got to do.
Stuff.
Yeah.
But there's slimline cylinders now. I mean, some of them are like so narrow that you can get them through loft hatches, no problem.
Yeah.
And normally, what you normally find is that a lot of older housing stock, even though it might have a combi boiler in, it would have been gravity fed before.
Yeah.
So the gravity fed system would have been directly above like the airing cupboard.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it would have had a water tank there already. It's got the weight load. So actually, houses are kind of ready for cylinders. They're not a problem.
Yeah.
And in flats, you have things like the Sun Amp battery. Heat Geek have got their new mini cylinder that they've come out with.
It looks really cool, actually.
Yeah,
I watched a video on it last week, I think, and they're doing some really good stuff.
Look, we should all be open to every new technology that comes out.
Yes.
Don't reject anything. Look at it, investigate it, find out, does it work for my client?
Yeah.
Because if it works for your client, that's the answer.
It's not a one size fits all.
No.
We have to, like you said, look at the whole project and be like, this would work perfectly for you, or this would work fantastically for you. I recommend you do this. Perhaps my company can't provide that, but this X, Y, and Z company is fantastic at that type of renewable energy. I recommend you give them a call and go down that route, because by doing that as well, we shouldn't be in competition with each other.
Not at all.
Like, there's going to be so much work out there for everyone to have, and we should be working together to be able to help everyone,
I think going back to the efficiency thing as well, for smaller businesses, the more efficient you make your offering and the better you make your offering for your clients, that's how you compete against the big boys.
Yeah.
Like when someone goes in and offers a £500 install, and then you come in after them and you can explain to the client the design, you can explain why your system, you don't even have to say that the other system's bad, but you can say why your system is good and just be positive about the reality of it.
Yeah, just explain it.
People actually understand, and they do believe, and they do see the right way of doing it.
I agree. I think, as long as you're transparent and you're genuine, and like you said, speaking to you, if you was to come in to my house and I'd been offered a heat pump for £500 and you'd come in to me and you'd be like, look, yes, and you're open and transparent, yes, you're going to charge you £500. My price is X, Y, and Z, but it's X, Y, and Z because it's going to be more efficient. It's going to save you on your utility bills. It's designed properly. I'd 100% take that offer, other than wham bam, thank you ma'am, chuck it in and never hear off you again.
Yeah, sure, exactly. And the other thing is about that, we offer, so we say to our customers, you're our client now for the next 20 years.
Customers for life, I like to say.
Customers for life. Yeah. But on an efficient system, one that's designed well, how many problems do you think you get?
Yeah.
None. Like, you go and service it every year and the customer's just happy.
Yeah.
They're like, wow, yeah, this system's been working brilliantly. I don't have to do anything to it.
Yeah, it's great.
We showed the controls. We can go right down the rabbit hole with controls with our clients. Yeah. Some clients want that. We've had really educated clients. One of them was a scientist, really wanted to know the ins and outs, which was brilliant fun for Luke and I. We have other clients that are like, oh my God, I'm a bit daunted by this. And for those clients, there's 3 buttons. There's plus, minus, just to take the edge off or turn it up a bit. Yeah. And there's hot water boost.
Yeah,
which
happy days.
The cylinder. That's like the easiest control, that's the Valent one. It's the easiest control system going.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got this, the technical element of it comes in the design and what your installer does. Yeah. The client should never be baffled by it. You
should simplify it. Yeah. Like as installers, the design and the hard bit is for you to take in. It's our job then as installers to simplify the best way possible for our customers, so that the aftercare and the simplicity of the systems are there for their benefit, really.
Every time.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Yeah, so are heat pumps safe to be outside if you have a young family?
So I've got a young family. I've got a 7-year-old girl and a 5-year-old boy. And on a visit to the Valent factory, it was really cool the other week.
I'm looking forward to going up and...
yeah, it's amazing. Get on the tour, it's really good. But they showed us something, and actually their heat pumps are designed that the fan sits so far back that it's away from fingers.
Yeah, so you can see it's offset.
Yeah, they've done it on purpose. So
yeah.
they're very safe with family.
Yeah.
Other than my son trying to shove sticks.
Really?
That's a different story.
Because back in the day, when I was working on them previously, like they was in big cages and like big, massive monstrosities, mate, with these big cages around them to protect the customers and the people living in the property for them. But these new Valent heat pumps look so slick and like...
I jest as well. My kids don't even go near it. They don't take notice of it now. Like they don't...
They're used to it, I suppose.
Yeah, they're completely safe. I mean, because you don't even hear it, so they're not drawing attention to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're absolutely safe to have.
Technology's come a long way in the last 5 years.
They're so quiet as well. That's another thing. Design it at low temperature. Your neighbours will never complain because there won't be a sound there. And we were talking about terrace houses earlier on.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you're living in close population with everyone starts to get heat pumps. You'd think there'd be this elevation of sound.
Yes.
But actually, no. If they're designed properly at low temperatures, they will all be whisper quiet.
Because that's the thing, you know, a lot of people say, they're noisy. I don't want to get a heat pump because I'm afraid my neighbours are going to be complaining. It's going to cause aggro because you know what people can be like, you know. Yeah. But listening to them, they're not noisy, you know.
No, I mean, it's part of the reason that both Luke and I have installed them on our homes, so we can say to our clients, "Come and look at my system."
Yeah, that's great.
Just come and have a look because we've got all the technologies that we promote, and you can come and. I have a young family.
Yeah,
I would not get away with having this stuff on my house.
Yeah, my wife wouldn't let me. If it, you know, if it was making you know, in the summer especially, like it's lovely weather now. You sit out in your garden and you enjoy the lovely weather, and you have a beer or like you've got animals and your family running about. You know.
Yeah.
The last thing people want is some really noisy thing outside.
In the old days, they used to be like that. Not just Valent, all the brands have moved on from that.
Yeah.
The technology's just gone. I mean, and
Way
the technology
better.
curves like this. So as new stuff comes out, it's only going to get better as well.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see that. And I think they look great, but like I'm a bit of a geek, you know.
Oh, me too. Luke's is in his front garden. When he pulls up at home in his van, I know he smiles.
Yeah, he's like, yes, that looks cool. I bet his missus is not thinking the same thing, though, you know.
She's like, don't say the H word.
Yeah.
She did love it when Kevin McLeod came out.
Oh, I bet,
He interviewed Izzy because the whole thing was about homeowners as well.
Yes.
So, okay, Luke was the installer, but okay, that was a bit of a bonus because they got to see that side of it.
Yes.
But it's about living with a heat pump, and they interview one of his neighbours as well. And actually, if it wasn't for Luke loving heat pumps and like talking about it constantly, Izzy wouldn't know that they had a heat pump.
Oh, 100%, yeah, because we'd geek out on stuff like that. Like I said on the last podcast, like I'm driving down the road, I've got the kids and the wife in the car, and I'll see some solar panels, and it's like solar panels spot, and hey, solar panels, but there, solar panels, but there, and like because it's on our minds, we like put it over to our family, and it's the same with heat pumps, but you know, people shouldn't be concerned of the noise of a heat pump, especially if it's designed properly. You know, technology's getting better and better, they're getting quieter. Our designs, well, yours definitely, you're designing them better so that these common questions and the common complaints you're getting about heat pumps, your customers are definitely not getting.
And it's like an FAQ thing, like it's the same things every time.
Yes.
It's like we understand the problems that you can have with heat pumps. We understand how to avoid those problems.
Yes.
And it all comes from design and temperature.
Design again.
Low temp. It's everything.
So if we go into the survey side now for the consumers, they're interested in a heat pump. They've called you up. They've called a couple of other companies up. I always recommend, even to my customers, when they're asking, "Oh, can you just come and do it?" I'm like, "No, get 3 quotes."
Absolutely.
Right. So, what advice can you give consumers thinking about having heat pumps? What questions just on a basic level to get information, what questions should they be asking to their heat pump installers?
What flow temp you're designing to?
Yep.
Can you show me the room temp you're designing to?
Yep.
Okay, so when you get a heat loss,
Yeah.
it will say design temp, and say for a living room, if you look at SIBSI, the building guide,
Yeah.
they have antiquated values. So
Okay.
you'll look down, and this is quite important, you'll look down and it will say living room 21, kitchen 18.
Yeah.
If your living room is there and your kitchen's there,
Yeah.
how are you going to possibly
It's challenging.
stop those rooms from mixing energy? So
Yeah.
21, have a single design temperature. Look for a single design temperature.
Okay.
21 degrees. Are you using a buffer? Those things.
Okay.
And the controls. Are you using the heat pump controls?
Okay.
Those 4 things
Yeah.
are the questions every client should be asking their heat pump installer.
For efficiency.
No, for just general good design. The end product of that is efficiency.
Okay.
But this is to show you, have you got a good heat pump installer versus a bad one?
Okay. Other questions. Where's a safe position for the heat pump in the garden? Because some people might put, like in Wales, it's 3 meters. In England, it's 1, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got a challenge there, and I hope that gets changed soon, because
I think it will.
It's based on antiquated kind of things to do with garden buildings, right?
Yeah.
So we've put heat pumps in terrace houses in London before, and unfortunately it's a costly way of doing it, but we put pre-insulated pipe in the ground to take them away from the property.
Yeah, you said about this earlier.
Yeah, so it actually means that the heat pump can be at the end of the garden.
Yeah.
So it's not near a window or a sound pressure point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that stuff's expensive, and 3 meters is challenging.
Yeah.
And obviously, yeah, terrace houses are an abundance, and
Yeah.
we need to work out how to get over that.
So in Wales, you need to be making sure that if you are having a heat pump and they're designing it for you, that it's going to be further than 3 meters away from your property, because otherwise it wouldn't pass MCS, would it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that will change. I mean, there was legislation going through Parliament before the change in government, especially for the UK. But I think that Wales will follow suit.
Yeah,
it's unnecessary regulation.
Yeah, I agree.
And in order to move the industry forward, we need to get rid of that red tape.
Yeah, I agree. Another thing you should be asking is, where do you propose on my hot water cylinder being? Yeah. And if you are concerned about space in your property, of where it's going to be, like the loft is a viable option.
Absolutely.
As long as the loft is suitable for it. So please ask them questions, and just go over that again. What are the parameters for it to be in the loft? It has to have a fixed ladder, fixed light fixture,
yeah,
and have to be
boarded,
not just a walkway. It has to be fully boarded, I believe, within that area. So
correct.
If it's over, say, like towards the camera by here, if your hot water cylinder is going to be over there, then it can't just be a walkway to it and then boarded. All that one half would have to be boarded all the way up. Yeah,
to be safe.
Yeah.
Again, it sounds a more expensive, challenging.
Not really though. It's just a standard thing that you should have for safety.
Same for boiler. Like
yeah.
If you're going from a combi to a system,
got to be the same.
It's the same difference.
Even if you're having a boiler up in the loft,
yeah,
and it's on like a wall up there, you have to have a permanent ladder,
yep,
a permanent light fixture, and it has to be boarded. Otherwise, you're not allowed to. Well, as per regulations, you wouldn't be allowed to put that boiler up in the loft anyway.
Exactly that.
So it's exactly the same for a hot water cylinder. I believe, and you believe, that it's the same.
Yep, just make it safe for the client.
Yeah,
obviously structurally safe as well.
Yeah, that's the most important.
Yeah, exactly that.
It's on a big body of water, 120 litres is 120 kilograms,
exactly. So safety, make sure everything's safe. But yeah, there's no reason they can't go up there. And then if you're plate loading cylinders, there's a lot of talk about the type of cylinder you're having. So if you're plate loading, there's efficiency losses that don't count. So with like a horizontal cylinder.
Yeah, because mostly you would be putting horizontal cylinders up
Yeah.
there, you know, because depending on the pitch of the roof, yeah.
So when you're plate loading,
Yeah.
you're creating it's like a heating circuit. You're actually moving the water
Yeah.
around the cylinder. It's not static. You're not heating it from a coil anymore.
Yeah.
So you actually heat that whole volume of water, whereas with a coil,
Yeah.
traditionally it heats only so much of it.
Yeah.
So actually we can now have horizontal cylinders in lofts.
Nice.
And the load is spread a bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, the plate loading is really good for that.
That's cool. Any other things you recommend that they ask? Ask about the bus scheme, because you should be, you will be eligible for it as long as it is done to the MCS standard. If you have an installation and it's not done by an MCS qualified company, then you wouldn't get the 7,500.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty standard. They should be talking to you about that the minute they come through the door.
Yes, that should be
Obviously, Eco 4 is a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's a free install.
Yes.
So that's more, you wouldn't get the bus, the company would get the bus right in that scenario.
Yeah, but they will be, if they can offer Eco 4, they will be MCS, they will be PASS,
Correct.
They will have all these things, they'll be Trustmark, they'll have all these things already, and they should be, even though it's free, they should be held to the same standard as if you was paying for it. It doesn't matter that it's free, the standard should be the same.
In fact, with PASS, there's actually more hoops to jump
Yeah,
through.
exactly,
So
yeah.
actually the standard, Eco 4 should be higher.
Yeah, but this is what's frustrating for me, you know, because obviously being in Wales, it's like there's lots of grants for people in fuel poverty, but the standard is not with everyone, but it's not great. So as a company who holds itself to higher standards and trying to drive the standard up for the industry,
Lead the charge.
yeah, like I want to be part of this so that I can set an example and, you know, and put this information out there so that, yes, you might be having a grant and some random company you've told you can have it for free, but you still have the control of who's going to put it in and what standard that it should go in should just be the industry standard. So you shouldn't have to worry, oh, it's free, it doesn't matter like how well it's designed or installed. The standard is the same, if not better.
Yeah, and anything we can do to help you on that journey, just reach out.
Yeah, 100%. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
The Trade Mastermind is great for that.
Yeah.
Like there's like-minded guys in the room when we're talking about everything, and we're networking and we're talking about, like, some people can do grants, some people are MCS, some people are gas safe registered, some people are construction companies. So like we all talk, we all help each other, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been the network is phenomenal. There's someone from every kind of walk of the construction industry.
It's pretty cool.
And there's so many good people here.
Yeah.
It really is.
I've got so much from it, and I'm very thankful for it. Yeah.
Yeah, same, absolutely.
So next we got the frequently asked questions. So I think we've gone over most of them.
I'll tell you what they are.
Yeah.
Is will it heat my hot water?
Yes.
Well, yes. Like so, I'm just talking about the Valent and the Viessmann heat pump here. They can heat up to 70 degrees.
Yes.
You should never ever run them up to 70 degrees. The compressor will be under so much tension.
Yeah.
But they can achieve that. So arguably, you no longer need an immersion to do the Legionella cycle, because the heat pump is absolutely capable of doing those temperatures.
They do the Legionella, it's like you can program in a Legionella cycle.
Within the heat pump.
Yes.
Using efficient heating rather than one for one from that immersion.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, they do heat your hot water. Will they keep me warm in winter? If they are designed properly, they're exactly the same as a boiler.
Yes.
They will do the same job. Are they noisy? If they're designed properly, no.
Yeah. So another frequently asked question is, do I have to change all my radiators to have bigger ones?
So this is a poignant question. If you have had a combi boiler or a boiler that's been running at, say, 70 degrees, it's not been designed well, it's just been flung in, there is a likelihood that you're going to be making some upgrades to the heat emitters and pipe work.
But it doesn't have to be potentially every radiator, it depends on the design. Yeah.
And that's what I touched on earlier with my home.
Yeah.
It's running on 22mm pipe work.
Yeah.
So I upgraded some radiators,
So that
but the pipe work was okay.
Yeah, okay.
For that specific heat pump.
Yeah, I got you, yeah.
But it's the design every time.
Yeah. Okay, so it depends on the design.
But the question you need to ask yourself, actually, what is the disruption there? Because if I upgrade the pipework and I upgrade some of the heating emitters, by the way, radiators are not expensive.
Yeah.
Go to Screwfix and buy a double panel radiator. It's not an expensive thing. To get the output right.
Yeah.
Pipework on a 3-bedroom house, not the most expensive thing in the world.
Yeah.
Actually, a buffer tank, the pump that you've got to buy to go on the other side of it, because all of a sudden you've got hydronic separation. The third-party control system that you're now having to buy because you've got hydronic separation. All this stuff adds up.
There's more expensive bits, really, you know. But what people are saying, though, is, I've got to put a radiator that's 4 or 5 times the size of the one that I normally have. But that's not true, is it?
It can be in some cases. So if you want to go 35 degrees on a house that is leaky, it can be 4 times the size, 5 times the size of a 70-degree rad.
But it doesn't have to be on...
No.
Because this is what is putting people off. They automatically think that they have to change each radiator to 4 to 5 times bigger and would have to change their central heating circuit to 28 mil with, like, you know...
So we call it the spine.
Yeah.
So if you get the spine of your house,
the carcass, size, you mean, yeah.
Then you've got the rib cage, which can be small pipe work.
Okay.
So you get 15 mil pipe work, because normally you think about it, you got 5 kilowatt heat pump, you've got to get 5 kilowatt of energy down that flow and return pipe.
Yep.
But the individual rads might be 400 watts. The next one might be 700 watts.
Yeah.
Like the distribution pipe work can be much smaller.
Yeah.
So when we say changing pipe work,
it
doesn't mean ripping your heating system out, putting a whole new heating system in. Quite often, it just means that we make 2 pipes a little bit bigger,
the spine,
up to a certain length in your house.
Okay, so what you're talking about is the spine, so, like, or the carcass, you know, and then you've got the tails coming off it.
Exactly that.
Okay, so that makes sense for consumers, I think, and would stop the worrying, you know, because some people don't want to rip all their house up and run all new pipes everywhere. Like, it can just be as simple as lifting maybe a couple of floorboards throughout the house, cutting the old ones out, and then just running, 2 pipes all the way down and then just going off on it.
Exactly that. And in some cases, you don't even need to do that.
Yeah.
So again, this is where you need a good installer that can do good design and be honest with you. And they'll tell you the truth. They'll tell you exactly what you need to achieve a good system.
Yeah, fantastic. I think that's going to be important. And like, we've gone over the hot water cylinders, the systems being noisy. Yeah, the bus grant that every person who puts a heat pump will have that in as well. So yeah, I think. Can you think of any more frequently asked questions that you get asked?
Not really. It's always about, will I get hot water or will they be noisy?
Yeah.
Will I be warm? They are the 3 standard ones.
Yeah.
And you answer those through knowledge and through design.
Yeah.
So you prove it through maths.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, we've done some massive systems where you really have to go into flow rates and understanding how to send energy around the home.
Yeah.
But these are big ticket items, and you have to sit with these clients and say, this is the mathematical equation.
On the bigger jobs.
3-bedroom house, not so much.
Yes.
Right.
And that's, you know, that's where I'm trying to get down to asking you the questions, you know, because there's so many people saying for the average 3-bed property, whether that's a terrace, semi-detached, detached or whatever, that these heat pumps are not going to be suitable. But
no, it's wrong.
Yeah, it's wrong, because they are suitable. It's just on the design. So get a system designed and installed properly. Yes, it might cost a little bit more on the upfront costs, but you will see the benefit of not going with potentially the cheapest price, but getting it done correctly so that it'll cost you lower on your monthly outgoings for your utility bills.
It's the same old. You pay for what you get.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it comes with everything, you know. Like,
and
sometimes you
need to lead it, like, help people.
Sometimes you pay cheap, you pay twice.
Yeah, absolutely. Heat pumps are classic for that.
Yeah,
heat pumps are perfect for that. If you pay cheap, you pay twice.
Yeah.
If not 3 times.
And I know obviously the technology is relatively new in the UK, but yeah, I think in roughly, if it's designed properly, like a heat pump can last, 20 years, yeah,
definitely.
If we reserved about it because we haven't got the analytic data at the moment.
Well, they've got them in Germany that have been running that long.
Yeah.
So we have. Like, we've seen it in Europe. We've seen them that actually lasting that long. And these are older models, by the way.
Yeah.
So you think about, this is old technology. You think what okay, we haven't got the analytics on the new technology, but we've based the new technology by learning from the old
technology. Yeah.
So it's going to be even better.
Yeah. So that's cool. So like a combi boiler could last, 10 to 15 years, 20 years at a push with these new A-rated products, So, a heat pump will last the same time, if not longer. So don't be afraid of, spending 20 grand on an installation and it breaking down in 5 years and you have to replace it and put another 20 grand down. Like, the data is not showing that.
And this is where it comes, also with clients, where it comes to going with a smaller local business, your independent business. You're never going to go through to a call centre. You're never going to be a number. You're never going to have to wait for 2 weeks for someone to come round. Our business is everything to us.
100%.
Like when we get a client calling us, we're there, like, if not that night, the next day.
How many times have you gone out at like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the night just to, put the customer's mind at ease? Like, we're here, we're providing this service for you. You're not just a number for us. Like, we want to look after you, because I know I've done it. Like,
yeah,
I just asked my wife, I've done it plenty of times. Yeah. She's like, oh, really, tonight? I'm like, oh, sorry, love. Yeah, gotta go.
That's it, and that's the pride we take and the sacrifice you make, because it is your business.
Yeah, it means more.
It means so much to you. And we touched on it earlier, the gratification that you get from a happy client, it's personal because it's your business.
Definitely.
You've done that for someone.
Yeah.
So go local. It's really, it's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Thank you very much for coming on, mate. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I've gained so much knowledge, and like I hope the listeners and the people watching will get as much from it as I believe that they will, and hopefully it enlightens people about heat pumps, and not necessary to listen to all the bad things, and to look at it from a positive way.
And information's free. You can always reach out to me, Optimus Heating, and Luke, my business partner. We're here to push the industry forward. We don't have to buy a heat pump from us if you want a bit of knowledge. You can just phone us and ask advice. It's no problem.
Yeah. Thanks again to our sponsors, the Hale Group, that do boiler installs, renewable installation, solar installs, and everything like that. Thanks again for Simon at Optimus Heating. And thanks for listening, guys, and watching. Please like and follow. And we'll see you next time.
Cheers.